Yo, what up, man? It's your boy Dedrick here, man. And we here with another video. I forget what day this is. I think this is day 168 of 168, if I'm not mistaken. I also think it's the first day of Sagittarius season, if I'm not mistaken. If you are a lotto head, we got lucky days and plays upcoming tomorrow. You feel me? But 4 terrifying Jinn stories. If you watched my previous reaction video about the Ouija boards, I said that I had to create my whole background, as you can see now, or at least how I wanted to present it. Have it more around the way looking. You get what I'm saying? Instead of so, you know, constricted. But either or, a Jinn, to my understanding, you guys, I think that's like the next level up from a genie, if I'm not mistaken, right? My whole concept of I believe in such things, right? I believe in genies, right? Kazam, shout out to Kazam, Shaquille O'Neal, and Shazam. That's what I had in my mind. I said, you know what? Shout out to my boy Scary Skull too, right? I think this person just started. I'm not sure who it is, but I am subscribed. I'm going to like the video as well. I said, yo, maybe I should do the Mandela effect, right? Because I'm thinking about the Jinns, like Jinn, how I wanted to do this video, and I'm usually thinking about genies, right? And Jinn, to my understanding, they are prominent in the Middle East, if I'm not mistaken. A genie, if you ever seen the movie Kazam, right? And the reason why I was talking about Mandela effect, because a lot of people like to say that, it wasn't Kazam, it was Shazam with Sinbad. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I have the VHS. It was Kazam. And then nowadays you'll see people take the case, or they'll take an image of it and they'll remove Shaq and then they'll put Sinbad there. It's like, bro, come on, bro. It was Shaquille O'Neal. I am Kazam. He holding up the boom box. You know, that's what he came out of. He came out of a boom box. You get what I'm saying? So I seen the little I don't know if you want to call it a meme or a little parody, right? I think it was like I think it was something that wasn't in theaters, Shazam, right? It was Sinbad actually being like a genie to like 2 little white kids, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't think it was real. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think y'all just confusing it, because that's Shazam and then you have Kazam, right? So Shazam probably was a parody of Kazam. That was the whole point. And in my head, I'm like, damn, maybe I should do, because I just done a creepy Ouija board reaction. Let's do the Jinn, you feel me? So I said, all right, I'll just make sure I get the final Mandela effect type of video, and then we get into it. You feel me? If you don't know what the Mandela effect is, they claiming one thing was one thing back then, and then now current day, as if we're on 2 different or several different timelines. You get what I'm saying? So I'm a believer, but I'm a skeptic as well. You understand? So with that being said, I do believe in genies. I do believe in jinns. You understand? Like, and I believe in God. You feel me? So if God exists, I know mermaids do, leprechauns, fairies, and shit like that. You feel me? Just because we can't see them don't mean that they don't exist. You understand? If you believe an angel exists, how can you not think it's opposing force doesn't? You get what I'm saying? So take heed to that. Not gonna be a long reaction whatsoever. Hopefully I don't pause throughout this video. All right, so 4 terrifying Jinn stories. All right, I believe it's set up like TikTok, right? TikTok videos.
This is the story of Nurutakaka.
Yes.
And her experience performing at a Jinn wedding. Nurutakaka, a Kuwaiti singer, led a band of talented women who
Wait, hold up.
Wedding. This is the story of Nurutakaka and her experience performing at a Jinn wedding.
How are you performing at a Jinn wedding? Excuse me. Am I confused? A Jinn is the next level up, because that's what Shaq said in the movie. Like a Jinn is free, right? But a genie is like captured and can grant you 3 wishes, if you will. And I also watched Charmed as well. You know, my witches, right? Yeah. Shout out to my mother. They can be tricksters, right? So you get a genie, you get 3 wishes, but they can be tricksters, right? You may, you know, I don't know, maybe you wish for free flights all across the globe, right? And you get that, but every time you about to get on the flight is late. or you're late for your flight, or you're about to miss your flight, or you missed the flight. You get what I'm saying? Trickster, that's what, from Charmed and my understanding, which makes sense. You understand? This is a being that's captured. This is all under the notion that you believe in such things. You feel me? But how are you performing at a jinn wedding? I don't understand this right here.
Takaka, a Kuwaiti singer, led a band of talented women who were invited to perform at a wedding. The wedding took place at the bride's house, and upon arrival, they were greeted by the bride's mother. She guided them to a room where they could change into their performance attire and prepare for the event. As the guests began to arrive, the band started playing music and continued their captivating performance for hours. It was customary in many Middle Eastern countries for weddings to be attended exclusively by women, and this gathering followed that tradition. Everything seemed to be going smoothly, until one of Nura's backup singers suddenly panicked and fainted. Concerned for her colleague, Nura assisted her and led her to another room in order to help her calm down. It was there that the performer revealed a shocking encounter. A guest had lifted her dress and noticed that her feet resembled those of a horse. Nura and the band members convened away from the guests to discuss the unsettling experience. They all agreed that an eerie energy permeated the house, making them uncomfortable. Despite their unease, they decided to continue with their performance until the wedding concluded, which would be after midnight. Playing their music diligently, they entertained the guests until an unexpected turn of events occurred. The guests started screaming and jumping around frantically. Frustrated and determined to leave as swiftly as possible, Nura instructed her bandmates to pack up their instruments. As they hastily exited the house, they encountered a man walking. Surprised by their sudden departure, he inquired about their presence in the house. Nura explained that they had been performing at a wedding inside. The man responded, revealing a shocking truth. No one has lived in that house for years. Intrigued and wanting to prove the man wrong, Nura, accompanied by her band, ventured back into the house. To their astonishment, they found an empty dwelling, filled with broken furniture, dust covering every surface, and no signs of life. It became evident that the wedding that they had performed at was in fact a wedding of a jinn, a supernatural entity or demon in Islamic beliefs. Following the traumatic experiences they had endured,
I wasn't expecting that. I got the chills, low key. Nah, hell no, bruh. Hell no, bruh. A lot of things don't give me the chills. I was talking to my brothers the other day about it because I'm like, yo, maybe I'm jaded. That's why the Ouija board reaction videos earlier, I didn't believe most of them. But so you were performing, entertaining, like singing at a wedding, and somebody had hoofs like a horse, and then you come out, you see somebody and they tell you, nobody's lived there for a while, and then you go back in looking for the people and no one's in it. Yo, that is crazy. So now I understand the initial statement.
Nura decided to end her career as a singer, along with her band members. The encounters with the supernatural during the jinn's wedding had left an indelible mark, leading them to pursue different paths away from the world of music.
Oh man, they say music are spells.
Which will forever terrify me because jinns are 100% real. For the sake of the story, we're going to call her Riley. Riley grew up in Somali. One night she was having a sleepover with a bunch of her friends. The night went on as you would expect. The girls did like your typical like sleepover activities when out of nowhere they felt like something in the air was just off. The air just felt thick around them and they just felt like they were being watched. And then even though it was warm outside, in the bedroom where they were in, it was extremely cold. Things started to get really weird when Riley looked at her phone and noticed that even though she was at full battery, her phone went completely dead. Then one of the girls saw a shadow like dart across the room. Then the lights began to flicker and the girls just kind of stood there silent, like trying to figure out what was going on, when one of the girls just quietly whispered, "We're not alone." They all stood still as they felt this presence like right behind them, like watching them. Riley still tried to brush it off until she looked down at her phone that happened to turn on for a split second just for it to show a message from her brother that said, "Get out of your room, there's something in there with you." Riley's heart started to race. She got up and told the rest of the girls, so they all got up and tried to make their way out the front door. When they went to open the door would not open, even though like it wasn't even locked. For whatever reason, something was holding it shut. Then they started to hear the whispers. At first, the whispers sounded extremely low, but they slowly grew louder and louder. Riley couldn't really understand what the whispers were saying, but they sounded extremely ancient and scary. All of the girls stood there terrified when Riley remembered what her grandmother always used to tell her, that if she ever were to encounter a jinn, to pray, to recite the Quran, and to let it know that it wasn't welcomed. With her voice shaking but firm, Riley started to recite the Quran, and as she did,
Question, y'all, because like something would happen, right? So say you just sitting there and a pen hit the ground, not a pen, but like something, something more subtle, like you might have runner's route on the table and the runner's route just may fall off. You get what I'm saying? Like, I need something more subtle. You get what I'm saying? Or you just chilling and then you hear like some creaking, or you heard sound like someone's in the other room or something, right? Why did my mom, when I was younger, she used to say, that's all right, just tell them, come on in. And I recall she said, don't hurt nobody or something like that. You feel me? When you're not supposed to, I don't know, man. Y'all let me know. Maybe Mom Dukes knew something that I didn't. You feel me? But, and then like I said, my mom, like I told y'all in one of the previous videos, my mom used to sit with my grandmother all the time, like, and have those type of conversations. You feel me? Like, not per se about paranormal and things like that, but whatever they talking about. I'm a youngster. I'm below the age of 12. So I done ran all day outside. Now I'm ready to go home and go to sleep. And now I'm stuck in the house with a furnace and my mother and my grandmother just talking about God knows what. You get what I'm saying? But y'all let me know. You feel me? Is that weird for my moms to say that? Or she might have been, because to my understanding, to my recollection, I remember don't harm anybody. You get what I'm saying? So I don't know. I heard some crazy shit. What the fuck was that? You feel me? But y'all let me know.
the air in the room started to lift up and everything felt lighter. Then out of nowhere, the door just like opened. The girls were too terrified to even look behind them to see what was going on, so they just completely opened up the rest of the door and ran out of the room. After that experience, the girls were too terrified to even talk about it, so they decided to kind of just leave it behind them. But ever since that experience, anytime that Riley is home alone, she would start to slowly hear the whispers starting up in the corners of her room. Anytime that happens, she starts to recite the Quran and it typically stops. Unfortunately, that wasn't the last of the jinns that Riley ever encountered. After that experience, her mom and grandmother ended up passing away. They had absolutely no health issues, but as far as Riley knows, her experience with the jinn may have caused her mom and grandmother's demise.
That's crazy.
This is a true horrifying story, part 8. This story took place with a Muslim man in the early 2000s in a small village in Sudan. To Muslim and non-Muslim viewers, let me explain what a ghost is in our religion. In Islam, we do not believe in people's spirits. The beings that haunt us are not bad souls of dead people. We refer to them as jinns. They are paranormal beings that live among us, but on a different plane, if that makes sense.
I didn't know that. I'm going off of my knowledge from a fictional movie, where Shaquille O'Neal plays a genie. And I'm thinking a jinn is just, the next level. Or is that a deep thought process, whereas Shaquille O'Neal was really a ghost that was trapped, or much rather, instead of moving on, he wanted to, I don't know. I started to, you feel me? Because then somebody would have to put that on him, right? Because he said he wasn't free. So I wasn't aware of that. So, okay, so jinns are just considered ghosts? Okay, you learn something new every day.
Makes sense. They live in their own world. They get married to one another, males and females. There are old jinns, there are younger ones, there are good ones and also bad ones. The bad ones, who are the disbelievers, are known as the shaitans, in English, Satans. There are Muslim jinns, there are Christian jinns, there are weak ones, strong ones, dumb ones, and very smart ones. There are different types of jinns, such as the Afrit, the Khubth and the Khaba'ith, the Ghols, and the shapeshifters. The shapeshifting jinns have the ability to completely shapeshift into human form or specific animals, such as black cats, lizards, spiders, and more. And their world, they can see us, but we cannot see them. A Sudanese man that lives and studies in Europe visited his family in one of the Islamic occasions in Sudan. He's not really a big fan of the area he lives in, knowing that a few spots there are haunted by jinns. He has bad childhood memories of seeing figures, listening to kids playing late at night, and hearing strange animal noises. For the first time ever, this man might have seen a jinn closest to its real form, but not quite. The only way you can see a jinn is if the jinn shapeshifted. And sometimes the shapeshifting process is not quite accurate. The animal or the human form might have some faults. On one of the late nights, this man was outside smoking a cigarette, and he started hearing stray dogs barking. Minute by minute, the barks would get more aggressive. He sees a strange-looking black animal that looks like a dog. He notices the stray dogs around this animal are barking at this dog specifically. The animal was moving towards him slowly, staring deep into his eyes. The man froze from fear and drops his cigarette. As the animal kept getting close...
So, in their culture, Asia, they call, ain't they Chewbacca? Never mind. They are skinwalkers, right? Chupacabras, the little dog things. Never mind those, because that's not what that is. He's saying that the jinn is like a shapeshifter. Isn't that what they call? Because the other word you're not supposed to say, but like skinwalkers, right? Over here, we call them skinwalkers, and y'all know. If you don't know, is a word you're not supposed to say. You feel me? Is that the same thing?
Sir, it started looking different step by step. Its size started increasing, its eyes began diluting, and its arms was getting bulkier. He wanted to say the prayers to make it go away, but something was stopping him. This animal kept coming a few feet closer, and then the man saw it clearly. It had arms that looked like human arms, a face of a goat, and a body of a bulky dog. The animal stood up on both legs, and the man shouted the prayer. It drops down and shapeshifts into a small black cat and sprints away. Do jinns actually look like that, the way this author described? Or was that a shapeshifting fault?
Why is it always in the Middle East?
I have another paranormal story for you, and this is a story of what happened to somebody who mocked a jinn who supposedly lived.
Somebody?
Last winter, something happened to me that I'll never forget. I usually stay at my grandpa's house most of the time. It's just me, 3 of my aunts, and my grandparents. Sometimes my cousins come over too. The place they live in is a really green society full of trees and nature. The ecosystem there is amazing. There's even a beautiful park just a 10-minute walk away, and I love going there at night. Anyways, one night my neighbour and I decided to do something a little different. We decided to walk around at night, taking the long route to the park, and if I'm being honest, we wanted something spooky to happen. We left around 1 AM and it was a cold night with a light fog hanging in the air. We were walking along the sidewalk next to the main road. He warned me not to walk under the trees. He was dead serious about it. But I brushed it off thinking it was just one of those made up warnings aunties tell you to stop you from playing around. So of course I kept walking under the trees without a second thought. That week, I had watched a video from a channel called The Merciful Servant about different types of jinns, and trust me, they have different names, types, and even characteristics. So when we came across this huge old dry tree standing completely alone, I don't know what got into me, but I joked around. I called out the name of a specific jinn I had learnt about and said loudly, "You live here, right? I want your place now." In the exact second I said that, we heard this terrifying deep growl come from right above us, high up in the tree. It wasn't just any noise, it sounded like an angry, grizzling bear growling right at our heads. It was so loud, my ears got blocked and started ringing. We sprinted as fast as we could, reciting Ayatul Kursi at the top of our lungs the whole way to his house, which thankfully was closer than my grandparents'. And honestly, you'd think the nightmare ended there, but no. We entered his house through the back door, since we weren't even supposed to be out that late. His mum was asleep upstairs and the rest of the house was pitch black as expected. As we crept quietly towards his room, we suddenly heard this really heavy breathing coming from about 10 feet around. It sounded like some huge person breathing loudly. Without thinking, we bolted to his room, slammed the door shut and locked it. It didn't stop. All night long, we both kept hearing someone outside the room. I'd hear someone softly call his name from outside, and he'd hear someone calling mine, but there was no one there, just his mum asleep upstairs. We also heard furniture moving around, footsteps, but when we checked, no one was there. When the morning finally came, I ran back to my grandpa's place. Later, he told me that after I left, he finally fell asleep, but woke up feeling like something was sitting on his chest and he couldn't breathe. He said he had to forcefully, painfully recite Ayatul Kursi and other surahs before the feeling went away. Thankfully, nothing like that happened to me, probably because I recite a lot of surahs before sleeping, so I learnt my lesson big time to never mess with jinns, and they are a lot more real than people think. And the area they were living in, my uncle once joked that it was built over an old pagan grave.
Nah, hell no. Do y'all, that's the end right there. Do y'all remember if y'all watching this, y'all remember that video? It was a while ago. It was a long time ago. That video of, I don't know to this day. This is before AI got big and everything. And it was like a flying lady. And everybody was like, yo, it was a witch. And it was like coming right at the person. And they wasn't, you could tell they wasn't in the States. I don't know where they was. They probably was somewhere like in the Middle East. Y'all remember that clip? Like, I wish I knew, yeah, I mean, where cause it was like in a compilation of videos. This was a while ago. This may have been about 5 years ago when I had seen it. I remember that clip like that. That right there, that's what that reminded me of. Well, this whole situation, because I was thinking jinns were, you know, I didn't think they were like ghosts. You get me? Like I didn't think they were ghosts. But y'all let me know in the comment section, you guys. Let me know what you guys think. And like I said, upcoming, well, maybe the next video over here, which ain't no telling when that'll be, you feel me? But subscribe just and turn the notifications on just in case. I think I'm gonna look into the Mandela effects, you know, see any new ones that they got out. Cause you know, Fruit Loop was always spelled with 2 O's, fruit and loop, right? The Capricornia, the little thing in the Fruit of the Loom. Y'all know either or, y'all let me know. But as far as jinn is concerned, I had a whole different understanding of what they were. I didn't know that they technically were just ghosts. I didn't know that. You understand? I did not know that whatsoever. But you learn something new every day. Till next time, you guys, leave a comment in the comment section. You guys let me know how y'all feel about it. Check out my family playlist. You feel me? That's me getting to know me, talking about such things. You know, I got to get back on my meditation. I haven't meditated in a very long time. I haven't meditated in some years. You feel me? I haven't meditated in some years. You feel me? I haven't practiced, you know, my main type of spirituality in a while. You feel me? Like I use it, excuse me, because my belief, you know, but as far as, you know, putting it in the works in a long time. But excuse me, y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think about this and when the last time you meditated. You feel me? Till next time, let's rise together. It's your boy Dedrick, man, and I'm out. Peace.